Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
We're watching the last episode of Arcane today.
Yeah.
I'm sad. I'm upset about it.
This is definitely one of my favorite shows. I love this show.
It was until it's over.
And okay. We have one more episode to enjoy, and then we can be pouty about it being over.
Okay. Fine. I hope Caitlin's okay.
I also really hope Caitlin's okay. Interested to see how Jace handles the aftermath and his emotional feelings after what he did at the end of last episode. Interested to see Vi reacting to Caitlin either being kidnapped or dead.
Ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I always love that touch of characters closing someone's eyes when they've died.
You didn't have a choice. He knew what he was signing up for.
Do you not understand? I am part of this now.
You've always been a part of this. You just never had to look it in the eye.
This is over.
Not for me.
Really?
Make me.
Damn.
You won't make it alone.
Say what you want about the late sheriff. He had his uses.
Marcus.
Too bad Jinx
Rest in
didn't think
peace.
so.
We'll buy another.
We'll buy another.
About that piece of shit that murdered my boy. Jinx will take care of it. Just like she's been taking care of everything else.
We all mourn the loss of your son.
Where is Jinx anyhow?
Help her with the body.
Oh god. Victor. Fuck. Miss Young.
What she was working on.
Ideas.
I know this will probably never see the light of day. Watching how you work so tirelessly to make the world a better place, I couldn't forgive myself if I didn't try. Everyone's got to do their part, right?
Do you hear the sound of him dragging his leg? It's like metallic. What?
It's like I'm a part of you now.
Yeah.
Mel, would you like...
Stay away from Jinx.
Get hold of yourself. I taught you better.
That's like Mama Medarda's herald, you know?
The man who killed your brother doesn't believe the score is settled.
Piltover isn't your testing ground.
I've only accelerated a process you started.
I stopped being part of this family the moment you cast me out. Why did you do it?
Because you weakened me. Whenever I made the decisions, the necessary decisions to keep us safe.
Whoa. Oh, the look in her eyes
Yeah.
looked like Medarda.
Let the war unfold. Take your place at my side. It's where you belong.
I'm sorry. I don't know where you
Ashes?
prefer.
Up on the cliff, where she saw you setting out the steamboat. Oh,
This is probably the same water that...
yeah. Just like Jace.
Jace, and then Victor walked in.
Am I interrupting?
Holy shit!
You have to destroy it. I know. The Hex Core. Promise me.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. We lost ourselves. Lost our dream. In the pursuit of great We failed to do good.
Oh my god.
We have to make it right.
I have chills.
But time's lapped you, old man.
You screwed up, Silco.
We had nothing. You know what bore us through those times? Loyalty. Brothers and sisters back to back against whatever the world threw at us. Now I'm
Loyalty.
Today's the day you die, Silco.
but I still believe in loyalty.
Yeah. Yeah. She did.
Wow. Finn got fucking destroyed.
I would have had your son killed for this, though I suppose we're ahead on that account.
Silco wasn't like 100% confident there
No,
either.
you saw him kind of be like,
Burn like him, but he won't be the last.
Put Ness on that lighter.
Perfect place for an ambush.
So beautiful.
I was reminded recently of what brought us together in the first place. The threats beyond our walls. Free trade routes, blanket amnesty, unrestricted access to the Hexgate sovereignty.
I give you credit for your stunt, boy. But the big display followed by a request for parley. You're tipping your hand.
Today I got a glimpse of what war between us might look like. Your people wouldn't stand a chance. The Council couldn't care less. I'm trying to save you from annihilation.
Not the fresh-faced Academy pledge. You want peace, this is the price.
And I need Jinx. She has to pay for what she's
The
done.
subtle facial expression
Well, her
change.
crimes,
Holy
she
shit.
was working for me.
Believe me, if I had it my way, it'd
like
be
a
you
Vander
out in
Vi.
Stillwater. Get me Jinx, and I'll give you your nation of Zon.
Holy
oh,
shit.
Nation of Zon. Oh, Jinx. Like,
You say all this came about? How were you able to accomplish so much so quickly?
You'd be surprised what you can pull off when your life depends on it.
Surely there are more efficient and safer.
But it's not as cool.
It's not enough to give people what they need to survive.
Hope.
You have to give them what they need to live.
God, Echo's so cool.
All we ever wanted. The boy didn't even haggle.
Is that
What do
Vander?
I lose but problems? Oh, it all makes sense now, brother.
Did you see the name Echo written there?
Is there anything so undoing as a daughter?
it's a daughter. I have a bad feeling.
Oh shit. And put. Oh my god.
Stop! Oh, it's Vi!
Fuck.
Stop.
Everyone, out.
Everyone. Oh my god. Oh.
X-Tech versus Shimmer.
It's like the best bar fight I've ever seen. Oh!
Oh! It's like a lightsaber.
The embers, like the way that the metal stayed red until it broke off. Oh! What the fuck?
Well, your guard needs work.
Oh my god.
What I can say is, She still needs you.
She still
They all
needs
do.
you.
That's my girl.
Oh. Oh.
Oh, the lights are out! Stop!
Whoa!
A force field?
Oh!
She ripped it out! Was that the jukebox that she fell
Yeah.
into?
If I just broke the fucking soundtrack.
The echo effect.
Silco.
Bravo, sis.
I'm not fit to govern the people who live there. And neither are you. With respect, I don't give a shit what any of you think of me anymore. You were right. You were always right. Are numbered, but I've come with Victor, my partner, and a Zonite, with one final proposal.
Zonite.
Jace has brokered a peace with Silco for the Undercity's independence.
What nonsense! We have proceeded.
Really thought I buried this place. Nothing ever stays dead.
Nothing ever stays dead.
Are we alone? Silco thinks he made Jinx. With all his rant. Excise your doubts, Jinx. Be what they fear, Jinx. But he didn't make Jinx. You did.
I spent so many nights in that shitty prison on that freezing floor, hungry. The only thing that kept me going was the thought of getting back to you.
Are we still sisters?
Nothing is ever going to change that.
Oh. Caitlin.
He took everything from us. Right here, he stabbed Vander in the back. He planned to with me. All the time saying you abandoned me when he knew the truth. Liar. We're missing someone.
Now, Caitlin.
I paid your girlfriend a visit this morning.
Oh. No.
What did you do?
No, no, no. No, no, no. Stop. No.
I'm not that crazy.
God, you got me. You got me. Oh my god.
The reflection
oh my god.
of the head is what fucking killed me.
Powder! Leave her out of this.
Smile drawn on.
Where should I sit?
She's so theatrical.
Make her go away. Send her on her way in. And you can have Powder back. What do you have to say about that?
Her name is Jinx.
I'm on your side. I promise.
Guess he said something she didn't like.
Shut up! We're talking.
A seat at the table. All in return for you. They can all burn. You're my daughter. I'll never forsake you.
Drop the gun!
Little reflection to show that Jinx acknowledged how she escaped.
Wait! She's my sister. Vi, she's too far
Smile.
gone.
Bye.
No, I'm sorry.
I never would have given you to them. Not for anything. You're perfect.
Powder? We'll be okay.
I thought maybe you could love me like you used to. Even though I'm different. But you changed too. Here's to the new us.
I am the monster you created. Worst of all, for me to live, and I needed you more. You know we had everything. You broke me and left these pieces.
We will show them all.
What could have been?
I support Councillor Talus's proposal for peace.
We could have been. I was meant to be yours. I hope you know that when you broke me and left these pieces, I want you to lose like I lose. What could have been?
Alright, that was Arcane. The final episode of the first season?
The first season? Question mark. I think I definitely need more.
Yeah.
After that, there has to be more coming.
That was so good.
That was so good.
This whole show has been great, but that episode in particular, like every bit of reason why I have liked this show since the start showed its face this episode and culminated. Like, man, the editing, like everything, the animation, the editing, the voice acting. Oh my god. When Jinx sat in her chair, the amount of clarity that came through from the voice actress and character was astonishing. It was like just an internal battle for the past 5 episodes, and it felt like when she sat down, there was the battle was over, and Jinx was Jinx. And it was chilling to see. It was so good.
Like an embrace of change. She was like, I've changed and you've changed.
That's why I said clarity. It was in confidence and calmness. And it was like... Oh.
Which we've talked about before. Calm can be some of the most terrifying things ever.
You believe them to the core. And it's... You know, there are a couple shows that have done it, but when a show can make you forget that forget what room you're in, forget that you have a camera on you, forget that you're with anybody else in the room, when you're just fully in it, That's not an easy task.
I almost felt like I was at a movie theater by myself while watching.
Yeah.
Like, we obviously have lights on. It's not like we're in like a dark room at a movie theater.
It felt like we were.
In a movie theater chair or anything. But I felt like I was watching this on a giant screen. I would have to listen back to see like the score. But I almost felt like just you imagine you're at the movie theater and then there's a live orchestra in a pit below the screen. Like, that's how I felt watching this episode.
What was the first line of
changing?
Yeah.
Here's to the new us. Somber music.
I'm a monster you created.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
And it's the title of this episode, The Monster You Created. It's a line in the song.
And it just cements what Jinx said a few minutes prior, that Silco didn't make Jinx, it was Vi.
And Vander is the one that made Silco.
I think Silco might be one of my favorite characters, like, in any show that I've seen like this. I think that what would do me a benefit for Silco is a rewatch of the series. But without that, and just going off of, our first viewing, that character is so complex and so well written.
Yes.
And deserves a backstory of himself in a way, because and doesn't at the same time, because the way that they have successfully written his character paints such a good picture of what he's been through and what his life was like up until this point, and enforces all of the decisions that he makes. And in the craziest way, you don't doubt him for a second when he tells Jinx that he wouldn't have
given her over for the nation of Zon.
Or anything.
Yeah. The show has done an amazing job at character writing with creating complex characters. Like, any character that you could put in the box of bad has traits that are good. Like, if you think of Savika, her loyalty to Silco. Like, even though she was against Jinx, why was she really against Jinx? Probably because Jinx was making things harder on Silco. And at the end of the day, she could have been offered things to make, and she could have been mad at Silco for his attention to Jinx, but she still chose to be loyal to this person that she's worked with from the beginning. And so it's like the trait of loyalty. You could give that to her. And then it's like Silco, he also had that idea of like the actual love that was there and care, and to sit in front of Vander's statue and talk about daughters, it's so complex. Like, someone that's in a bad box or a good box, like, where's Victor lying here when he wanted to create Hex Tech to help other people, and then in the process he starts to try to save himself and then kills someone that he cares about. Like,
where did Jinx go at the end of the episode? Did she just walk away and we didn't see her? Like, I don't think she died from firing this thing,
seems
right?
Seems like she just left after that. I mean, obviously if Vi and Caitlyn were able to get untied and walk toward that like giant missile and watch it, then it seems like Jinx decided to be Jinx. And the reason that she was holding on to Vi is because Powder was still there. But they're different people now. It's like they're not even sisters.
Yeah.
She was completely cutting off ties with Vi, and I think launching that missile at Piltover is something that it's almost like that final goodbye to the past for both her relationship with Vi and also her relationship with Silco. Because where did we first meet her and Vi? In that city. And then Vander crossed over the bridge.
Where did Vi take, Powder to, like, see the city, see the same view they're looking at now, and distorting it in such a way?
It's like she destroyed the hatred of their past, and then thus becoming a new, complete Jinx.
Everything was so, past 10 out of 10 in this episode. I think my favorite at this second, out of like the voice acting, score, I thought the animation was so well done, and it's almost like they leaned into the traditional like 2D anime, like, feeling of their impact shots like a couple episodes ago. And then in this sequence, when the missile was firing, it was like, it was otherworldly, dude. Like it felt so crazy to witness. With the red moon.
The red moon and the blue missile. And then Medarda taking off the ring and placing it on the table, choosing to embrace a peaceful nation that she's built with Jace. And
it's so, like, the streaks of, like, the animation, it looks so good. God, dude, alright, so next season opens up, right? What's the result here?
I don't know. A quick question though: why does Medarda's like the gold on her light up? Is there significance to that? Is that trying to tell us that maybe she's going to be the only one like harmed gravely?
So, my immediate thought was, this is emitting a massively bright light, and the gold on the back of Medarda's is reflecting it. That being said, I can totally easily interpret it as well as like some sort of ability or some sort of like reactionary defensive piece of gear,
I just needed to point it out because in the episode you brought up how they created a glare quickly off of the glass that Caitlin had used to cut herself out of the ropes, and to show us that Jinx notices it.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, that's why I wanted to like mention that too, that like what's going on there. Is it just because it's emitting, the missile itself is emitting a great light and obviously is reflecting off of this gold jewelry and outfit that she's wearing?
They put so much detail and care into every second of the show, and the thing that's different, that sets it apart from like just another anime or whatever who also puts a lot of attention to detail, is that there's like, they're able to do so much crazy shit, but in every second they are always tethered to some sort of reality, like to some like real practical thing that you and I could see happening within our point of view or world. Like, one of the craziest shots of the entire episode was, again, at the end, when you see the missile with the torpedo with the shark face on it coming right towards the glass. And on first glance, like, yeah, it's an amazing shot, greatly artistic once it starts to break the glass, right? But like,
before it even breaks the glass.
But that's why this show and this like clip is so special, is because you could make the argument that it's like, oh, just a creative shot, but I think that the shot's just, it's a creative way to lean into like the reality of the reflection here, because as it breaks apart and cracks, you see the enhanced image, the magnified image of the smile on the glass. But that could also, like, it's not a reach to be like, well, yeah, once it breaks, it's closest to the reflection, so of course it's spread out like that, And then it goes off with Jinx's smile. Like, it's so well done.
Then before it even breaks the glass, you can kind of make out the table with the people sitting on it. And then in the corner, you also see the city as if reflected, like as if they were looking out and what they're seeing. And it's so cool.
I don't know what this means, though. Like, I could see, it'd be hard for me to believe that everybody in the room dies only because, like, TV, right? But at the same time, who's there? Caitlin's mom, Jason, like, I'm trying to think of Jason's character.
The two creators of Hextech, the ones that understand it.
But, like, with Jason, Silco's dead now, so Jason Victor's kind of through. I could see, I could see everybody potentially being wiped out. Another idea is maybe the Arcane itself, right? The thing that they were promising to destroy could somehow absorb part of the blast. I don't know.
I mean, Victor's body has already been manipulated. So there's a possibility maybe that he could survive something like this.
Yeah.
Possibly, because we don't actually know the rules of what has happened to him with the use of the Arcane.
Now that Silco's gone too, right? Even if just Silco was removed, it would have already been a tough ask to try to go forward with the idea of the Nation of Zon. But now, where does that leave us? Like, imagine if both parties are null and void. Who leads? You have what? Heimerdinger, Echo. You have Caitlyn.
Mama Medarda.
Mama Medarda. She's gonna lose both of her kids.
Vi and Caitlyn. I mean, Caitlyn and Vi, they are a duo that are from both places that are connected now, and really they're the ones that, going forward, would understand the point of view and perspective of each place, and protecting the values that each place hold and respecting the people. So having them still alive and then witnessing this together, arm in arm.
Whoever comes after us, we are going to have a way bigger issue fighting them than we would have before this episode.
The person that Mama Medarda said killed...
Whoever killed your brother isn't finished. And I am scared because if we don't have Hex Tech and we are losing our gemstones... The two people that understood Hex Tech,
we could have had peace and stability possibly in a mutual effort to fight outside enemies, Yeah. And now both places are going to be entirely systematically broken, with who's going to be at top being a leader. I would say that Echo should probably... I think, Echo could take charge in the Undercity.
He did so much in such a short amount of time.
He's already done so well for the Firelights.
But his, little pocket of Eden, I don't know how well that would work practically and go over in the entire Undercity, Yeah. In practice. Mm-hmm. In theory, I love it.
For Piltover, who do we have? We have Caitlyn, whose mom was on the council, who was also an enforcer, and who now understands and respects the Undercity.
And an ex-council member, Heimerdinger, too, though.
Yeah, and Echo, they each have a connection to Echo and trust in Echo. So there is a possibility of building a mutual relationship going forward. I think the only question mark is being able to understand or utilize Hex Tech and the Arcane going forward. This is the City of Progress, but this is a giant setback. If both of the brains that made it, the Man of Progress might be dead at the very end of this episode.
What do you think was in Miss Young's writings? It seemed like it was based off of the organic, of plants and stuff from the drawing we got.
She was probably... You remember how he was trying to... he was using a plant at first, and he was trying to figure out how to keep it alive? Maybe she had figured out something.
Maybe. Or at least had an idea.
The roots, there's a drawing of the plant with its roots, and the roots are circled. That probably has significance.
Could also be looked at a symbolism of what the Undercity is to Piltover and how the growth.
Aren't the mines down in the Undercity?
Yeah.
I do think it's really cool, this that shot of her notebook. I think what's cool is that it's really handwritten to the point where they've mixed it where I can make out some words. I read many, but then it kind of became, this cursive something. Yeah. And so I think that was a really nice touch that they gave her an actual handwriting that was specific to her, but I can't read it to know what it says. Yeah. So they're haha, what if it doesn't actually say anything, but we made you think it was real and authentic.
Well, yeah, and that comes back full circle, especially if Victor dies, then the whole idea of what was written in that notebook dies with him, right?
Oh, I was saying the viewer can't unlock what's written there.
Yeah. I loved that
The book would probably be with him right now and burst into flames.
I love that they added they added a decent amount of depth to Mama Medarda. Like when she said that like the reason that she exiled Mel was because that she weakened her, I was like, that's interesting. That's cool. Like I could see the point of view that's real, you know?
Mm-hmm. And what they did with her eyes there was such family resemblance. It's uncanny in that moment. What her eyes did that looked exactly like expressions that we've seen from Mel was awesome.
Yeah. Like and Mel's expressions too. Like she was like holy shit. Like she was like, "Oh my god, that makes sense." Like I can see that.
So how does the painting go from being pristine in this scene, which is like how many minutes into the episode? Like
8.
8 minutes in, to the last scene when Mama Medarda's walking in front of that painting again and it has giant strokes across the boat.
It's a good question.
So does Mel choose to do that, and why does she choose to do that before this happening, the end of the episode? There's paint on the floor.
In gold, too.
In gold. Oh, in gold.
Yeah, her colors were red, Mel's were gold, so it could just be like she's going her own path, and like she is going forward with
peace by the end of the episode.
God damn. Victor had one of my favorite lines of the entire series to Jace. And that was...
I might know what it is.
In the pursuit of trying to do something great, we failed to do anything good.
Do good. Yeah, I wrote down what he says right before that. We lost ourselves and our dream.
I was like, oh my god, you just talk more. Let me listen to you talk, like, forever. Now we'll never talk again.
I just love that. The pursuit of something great, we failed to do good. Like,
But that's, like, very real, right? I don't look at Heimerdinger as, like, the one person who always knows right. But when he, in the earlier episodes, when he was like, slow it down to, you know, I think that, I don't even think he was necessarily suggesting this, but like in terms of like reality, like if you do slow things down in progress of technology and take more time perfecting things and doing things, your outlook on certain things might change, and your ideas of what might be the best for your direction might change if you focus on smaller steps rather than grander ones.
Like, think back to what Jace and Victor were working on right after they completed the gates. They had, you know, the gauntlets that Vi wears, and it was supposed to help miners, you know, and reduce fatigue in the mines. And it was a really great idea that they were thinking about enhancements in technology to help the average working person with productivity and with health.
Yeah.
And that was their focus, and that was great, but they were putting the stones in it, and then it's like, oh, but then the issue is you're putting this power into the hands of every person, basically. And I think that from there, it's like their objective went from like, let's think of inventions to help the everyday person, to what it basically comes down to is using it for war or using it for own personal health.
These tools, like made to be used by miners, were used on miners, but just spelled a different way. You know?
Spelled a different way?
Like kids. Yeah.
You got me there.
But,
I was like, what?
I really, just to stick on that Victor Jace moment for a second longer, Victor taking the half step off the ledge and Jace being there.
That was nice.
I was like, fuck, this is so good. So good.
There was something satisfying in this episode with usage of predictability.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times you can say about a show, like, it's great that it wasn't predictable.
That's a good point.
But I think when someone chooses to have predictable elements and, like, purposefully places them, it can leave the viewer feeling really satisfied.
Well, it wasn't just, like, this episode in particular, they picked and choose when to use it,
Mm-hmm.
but for the majority of the time, they used the predictable element. And I think that, like, that was the goal, right? To let us feel like we think we know what's coming. And we're, you know, reaffirmed with that by things like the Jason Victor moment.
Mm-hmm.
But when they choose to subvert that, it hits us even harder.
Right, it's like when they choose to subvert parallels.
Mm-hmm.
Like from episode 1, all we've seen with the show is these two contrasting environments, and then how they are comparing and how they're contrasting, and different characters, how they compare and contrast. And there's tons of parallels and connections, full circle moments. Like, we obviously get that with Victor stepping off the ledge and then Jace walking up behind him. The usage of kind of closing some of those circles or continuing to have some of those parallels, and then having that kind of like feeling that like we can hope and guess for that to be a connection that's going to be made and to happen again. It's really nice to have just a little bit of that. And then obviously the ending is completely not predictable and completely not what I expected. I didn't expect all of the council to raise their hands at all for peace. I thought there would be, I mean, we saw before basically them raising their hands is all of them getting up from their seats and drinks flying and chairs going back and yelling. And I was like, it's not going to happen.
I was like, well, what did I do to deserve getting getting Silco and Jace in the screen at the same time, having like a conversation? And of
Weird.
course they have to give it to me now because they can't in the future. Like, I'm so upset.
This is weird. It felt so, I was like, are we seriously doing this?
I'm so upset that, like, next season we're not going to have Silco. Like, more than, like, his voice actor, his performance, his character is so good. And I'm so upset. But I wouldn't have chose I wouldn't have chose any other way to send him off.
For it to be, what it came down to was Jinx made the decision in that split second, obviously with grief coming after, to shoot Silco before he shoots
Well, who made
Vi.
that decision? Jinx or Powder?
And who made the decision? Could you possibly also say Silco?
I don't know. I think perhaps what you're getting
Possibly.
at... Yeah,
in
but...
order to be good by this daughter that he loves.
But I think that the idea of, like, Powder's innate decision or what do you call it? Like, reaction. Powder's reaction of Silco about to shoot Vi was almost the straw that broke the camel's back in regards to Jinx's decision to not let Powder be anymore. Like, it was like, your decision, this person, Powder, left me with this result. A dead Silco who, regardless of the offer, says they wouldn't turn me in. I'm stuck there now. Like, I'm choosing to be there. He's gone, but I'm not gonna let that memory leave, you know?
Like another evidence for that final kind of send-off of we are different people now and, like, not sisters. Like, a little bit of me is still like, Powder has to be in there because Jinx said this episode, nothing ever stays dead. I wrote that down too.
Yeah, and if nothing ever stays dead.
Feelings never stay dead. Family relationships, care.
God. Silco's such a good character.
Memories.
Don't get me wrong, I love Vi and I love Jinx and Powder, but, like, Silco has brought that home in a way that I never thought he'd be able to after we finish episode 3.
I didn't think that I would have any feelings other than disgust when Silco was on the screen. When we first met him, I thought I was always just going to be like, oh, this big bad, you know? Like, I despise him. He creeps me out. I dislike him. Like, obviously the perfect role of a villain character if you're supposed to feel like you dislike them. But they did one of my favorite things, which is take that person that you're like, oh, they're the villain, I'm gonna hate them, and then make you, like, feel other things for them. And like having them on the screen, and like having interactions with them with other people, and, like, learning more about their complexities and how they feel inside. It's like you're getting tested a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, don't judge a book solely off of like the first thing you learn about them. Like, there's so much more to read.
Yeah. I have it paused right now on the Jace conversation that he has with Silco, and like it's just like the animation is so good, man. When he says like that's half the deal, return the gemstone, and then you can already have a baseline for Silco's face, where his eyebrows are, where his eyes are looking, and how big his pupils are. And then the second, and I need Jinx, you can see his pupils dilate, his eyes open wider, and his eyebrows get more downward.
Just so subtle too.
And then he like breaks eye contact for just a second and looks back, and it's like it's so. And then he flutters his eyes. Look, like it's so good. Like, oh my god, dude, it's so good.
It's so good.
I love this show.
I love this show.
Did you like Vi and Savika's fight?
I did. I think my favorite part was that they did it twice in this episode of getting rid of the light.
Yeah.
And just being able to have that like glow of the fight and the weapons and the hits, you know? And to have that again with Powder, Jinx, and Vi conversation before the lights came on and we saw we were having a tea party. I really did enjoy the Savika fight. I think my favorite part was when Savika was like cutting through the tabletop like a lightsaber, and then Vi like literally like grabs it out of her. And you just see after she's flung against the jukebox, which is like the perfect thing to have happen. I mean, it's already perfect because you have the character going up and putting a coin in it before Vi enters, and I was already like, that's enough. That's enough. That was already amazing. And then to end the fight with throwing her in there, and you see the like shimmer dripping out of where the sword was ripped out of her hand.
Cool.
Like,
I love that we got like a little bit of Vander coming back, just the idea of him for Vi, and I almost cried. It's so good. One little touch that I thought was cool about Jace's conversation to the rest of the council was how at that point he already chose to refer to Victor as a Zaunite. Like,
I know.
In reference to like in probably help to, you know, convince them. But also, like, in his mind, the deal was done, and this is who Victor was, and this is his heritage, and he's acknowledging that and not forgetting it like he previously had, you know?
Right. I mean, you're so right to bring that up. Like, we think of that conversation on the bridge when Victor's coming back from the Undercity, and Jace is like, why were you down there? Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'm from there. Did you forget?
Yeah. It goes back to the idea, right? Unfortunately, Jace had to do something to be able to feel the way that he did at the end of this episode. Mm-hmm. He had to do something that resulted in a kid's death. And unfortunately, like in the first few episodes when we had Vander preaching his ideals and what he's learned over the years to Vi, you get the idea that you can't just tell somebody what is right and wrong and have them fully believe it and understand it to their core. You have to go through the actual motions and feelings and experiences to be able to come around to a certain way of thinking a lot of the time.
That's exactly what happened for him. Is he didn't really even have, like Caitlin, when she first travels to the Undercity, she finally gets the reality check of what it's actually like down there and who the people are, what they are like, what Shimmer has done, what the Enforcers have done or lack of done. And then Jace still hasn't had that until he goes down with Vi, and he goes into it thinking, oh, these are the big bad, these are the villains, like, these are the people making the Shimmer that's basically infecting the Undercity and killing people and making people suffer. I'm a hero going into this to stop this. And then he realizes that, like, being the hero and stopping something, in this case, what is war? Taking other people's lives. People dying. Like, it's like he actually faces the consequence of fighting.
Yeah. I don't know what to say, man. I I know that you've always loved this show from like very early.
Let's say
on.
like episode 3 had I was sold after that point.
I was too, but okay. Sometimes like you like a show a lot, and that's it, right? And you're like, that was a good show. But I think that over the past 2 or 3 episodes, like the more I think about the show and the more I look into this show, the more I get out of it nonstop. There's like not been if I try to critique this show on any legitimate level that's like okay, I'm just not too into it. And I'm like, okay, well, why wouldn't I be too into it? Let's look at the characters, right? Why do they say the things that they say? Why do they feel the things that they do? What details are they showing on their face that they aren't saying? And the second that you start pulling back a little bit of a layer, like you realize how much was really put into this show. And I hope that there aren't people who dismissed it thinking that it was a anime or cartoon based off of a video game. I don't know anything about League of Legends, dude, but I don't fucking care. I don't think I need to, or at least, and maybe I do.
think we learned now that we didn't need to have experience with League of Legends to enjoy this.
This is such a beautiful story, and it's so enriching, and the characters are so well written, and it's one of those like projects that you really feel like was directed and supervised cohesively and as a family, and every aspect was a part of this final product. Every division was so well intertwined with each other. It's great. I love this show so much.
I don't know what the job description is for the person who fully makes the profiles for characters and makes them feel like real people and complex beings. I don't know what the job description or the title for that is, but that person or that team of people, I mean, characters are one of my favorite parts of stories and shows. The character writing, their dialogue I think is under that umbrella, what the character chooses to say, how they react to something that makes them feel like an authentic being that is fully fleshed out and fully thought about. And I would say that team or that person that did the characters for the show.
Yeah,
good. Good.
To go off that, like, the one thing that I have played is Valorant, right? And I've seen the cinematics there, but I could not imagine, given the time and money and resources, whatever, anybody ever making me feel the way that I feel about the characters in Arcane anywhere close to like a Valorant type of concept. I could never imagine like actually caring to the degree that I do about these characters we've seen from this show to the characters in like a video game like Valorant.
You don't think Reyna and Savika would get along?
No, just like I don't know, man. I wish that I had an access to a parallel universe where I had played League of Legends and then watched this show and I could compare both of them. But it's hard to imagine that there would be any other, like, that I could watch this in any other way and get more out of it, like, of an experience. It's so good. I'm so upset that it's
that it's over.
Yeah.
So do we know for sure if there's going to be more, or do we not know?
I have no clue. I imagine.
Then I hope
right?
so. I really hope so. I think there's room for it. I think that it was good enough to warrant more.
I know that there exists a video or some videos about the making of this show. That being said, all I have to go on about the production of this show is the quality. And the quality leads me to believe that this took a long time to make. And if that's the case, I don't know what a potential season 2 would look like or how far away it would be.
Waiting.
Are Imagine Dragons gonna come back? Are we gonna get somebody else? So. Nickelback. Who knows? You know? No, for
Look
God,
at this photograph.
Fuck, dude. I love the statue. I love Echo. I love this world so much, man.
Me too.
We've had 9 episodes.
And luckily for us, those episodes have been like 45 minutes long. So they've been pretty decently sized.
Yeah. Or not even. Like 35 minutes this episode was. It's crazy. The amount of like... Okay, here... The amount of characters and world they have managed to convey meaningfully. Like, legitimately in 9 episodes is kind of fucking crazy.
Like, not only the world that we are currently in, but the outside world. That there are enemies to factor in. There are places that are ruled by the Arcane that you don't go to, that, you know, that we're trying to keep out.
Dude, I'm even talking strictly in the world. You give me 9 episodes that includes a time skip with characters like Vander, Clagor, Milo, Mel.
Time skips are risky.
And you have so many different characters, and they balanced it so well.
This was like the least risky time skip I've ever experienced. Most of the time when I see time skips, I'm either like, oh, okay, you know, like either they didn't do a good job with like casting, or how they switched into the next time period doesn't feel good. But this was just like amazing. It didn't feel like a risk.
It's just so
It was cinematic.
Good.
It was awesome.
Okay. The person who leads Piltover, I understand it, might wipe out the top floor, but you didn't wipe out the janitor's quarters. Harold will lead Piltover.
Is he the janitor? Yeah. I mean, he could be. A guard. He's definitely not up there. He's not up there. You're right. He survived.
No, you're right. Fuck. He's a guard. He would probably like want to. You're gonna need your best men protecting.
You need your best men at the door of the counselor's room. Harold's dead.
If he isn't though.
If he isn't though.
He will single-handedly
be the man of progress.
Be the man of progress.
Be the new man of progress in season 2 of Arcane.
I think man of progress, Mop. I thought Man of Progress and Harold were pretty synonymous, so I assume Mop, Harold,
and then janitor. Yeah. That makes complete... I'm sure he would clean up after
of course he would. He's a great man.
Because he's a great man.
Echo's great, too.
He deserves a gift.
I found myself, since we watched the episode, on 2 separate occasions, I never do this. We don't have the time to do this. But on 2 separate occasions, I've rewatched the... ending sequence of Echo versus Jinx.
Oh,
like
so
just
good.
It's so good.
I haven't rewatched, but I specifically want to rewatch that episode.
I think your dad would like the show.
Yeah. I've already recommended it to him.
Part of me thinks it'd be like, I don't know if he'd like the time skip a whole, like, at first. You need to, like, we need to be there and be like, okay, let's keep watching.
Time skips are risky.
Yeah. It's so well done, dude. I just want to rewatch the show. I want any excuse to, I'll show you this show, you know? Voice acting might be I think out of any animated or anime or cartoon, any show in the same vein, I have never in my entire life watched a better dub of an animated show in my life. The voice actors in this show and voice actresses were breathtaking. It was so good. You know,
I agree with that.
Imagine giving... Remember how we felt when Marcus died?
Yeah.
Imagine being able to give us so much of, like, feeling and character... like development and potential for character development. And using it the way that they did and how they did with Grayson and everything, looking back with that, and then it's their choices. They're brilliant. I wonder if in League of Legends that this entire story was like outlined, or like this is the story that like that the game goes off of.
Either that or it's the lore of before.
It's so good,
it's
dude.
So good.
You don't see a video game with like this level of storytelling very often.
I wish you did.
Yeah. Fuck.
I love playing story games.
I've never played The Last of Us, and the show's out. All my friends are like, "Oh yeah, The Last of Us is really good," and I'm like, "I haven't seen it or played it. Fuck."
Anything story rich, I'm a fan.
Me too. All right, you good?
I think so. Regretfully so. I think so. I'm really gonna miss Arcane. Like 100% sincerely going to miss Arcane. Every time we were about to watch it, I have said multiple times that day that we were going to be watching it, I can't wait to watch Arcane. I can't wait to watch Arcane.
Well, if it comes back, when it comes back,
I will say that again. I can't wait to watch Arcane.
We will be here to watch Arcane. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.